Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Faith and Fandom Feedback Friday podcast for March 14th. Hope you all are doing well. Um, gonna jump right into some news this morning and then do a small bit of scripture reading. Gonna be a little less today than normal just because of life and time, but not gonna leave you hanging. Hope you're doing well. We're about halfway through March, about a month from Easter. Um, there's been a lot of good stuff, and I hope for you that you're doing okay. I hope you're making it through well. I know it's been a stressful time for a lot of people, a lot of discouragements in a lot of ways, but I hope y'all are doing okay. And that, yeah, that's it. I mean, realistically speaking, it's the best I can hope for some days. Um, well, let's jump into some news. Do. Okay. I think I might have or said this last week, but I'm gonna do it again because no reason not to. Um, WWE Hall of Famer Luger, sorry, Lex Luger is being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Um, he's been in the midst of press lately because he is learning to walk slash stand slash be mobile again through the assistance of DDP yoga. And that Diamond Dallas Page has been helping him return to mobility and safety after a number of years of being kind of chair bound. And I did a Comic Con with him where I was maybe two booths down from him about 2 years ago. And to see the transition between where he was and where he is now, it's great to see. Good morning, Rivka and Tristan. Hope y'all are doing good. My fan from the other side of the several ponds. Ow. For those listening and not seeing, I just tried to take a medicine and almost choked and then splashed coffee in my eyeball. So because I'm a professional broadcaster. Um, but yeah, Lex Luger is being inducted in this year's Hall of Fame, and I think it's more important that he's learning to walk again and everything. So that's good because I think there'd been a while there that he was kind of giving up on life, and it's good to see him not. Uh, Russia, Ukraine has still been heating up. There's been a lot of proposals and things that haven't gone through. I'm not going to spend all the time on that, but just it's not going smoothly, but it's not over yet. Um, in the midst of Marvel canceling several Disney Plus projects, it appears that a new series um, of the Runaways is coming. Uh, if you aren't aware, the Runaways is basically the story of a handful of teens that are the children, grandchildren, or estranged relatives of supervillains, and they basically try and run away from that and become enemies of said supervillains. So there's discussion of that. The WWE United States champion Chelsea Green, this past week or so did a tribute to Mick Foley, who was my favorite wrestling entertainer of all time, by dressing up in her own Cactus Jack themed gear, um, which was pretty cool. Derek Benson, good morning, man. I hope you're doing all right. Uh, yeah. In the world of comic book crossovers that we definitely didn't need, um, there is a comic book coming. It's a real thing called Archie Meets Jay and Silent Bob, where Jay and Silent Bob officially cross over into the world of Riverdale. And one of the covers for this comic is going to look like the Clerks poster with the Archie crew. Um, I don't know that it needs to happen, but it'll probably be fun to read. So that's a deal. Uh, a gunman was shot this past week outside the White House. Um, there's a lot of kind of distressing and like frustrating details that kind of go along with that. But for the most part, the fact is someone outside the White House with a gun um got shot. And not necessarily that he was trying to shoot anyone in the White House, but he was a gunman outside the White House, and he's more of apparently a danger to himself. But there's more layers to the story. Uh, the world's first ever anime about bowling will premiere in July. It's called Turkey, which, if you're not familiar in bowling, if you get three strikes in a row, it's called Turkey. I believe that's the correct term. But either way, it's called Turkey. It's the world's first anime about bowling, and it premieres in July. Um, Syria has been like under a ridiculous amount of heavy violence just in the past week. Uh, Over 1,000 people were killed in a week's time, uh, including hundreds of people who were Christians. Not that that makes more value of their life, but just, for the dynamics of it. Uh, but it's apparently rising Islamist attacks and escalation in that capacity. So, not that there aren't enough areas for you to already be praying for in the world, but be aware that there is other stuff happening, um, and people's lives are struggling. Tristan says that a bowling anime is not the worst premise for an anime you've heard of. I'm gonna tell you what, dude. One of my favorite surprising things of 2024 was an anime called Rising Impact, which is a anime about competitive golf for teenagers. And the main character is 1000% one of the most annoying kids in the world. But I found that show absolutely delightful, and I binged straight through 2 seasons of it and found it wonderful. So if they can do it with golf, I'm sure that they can do some cool stuff with bowling as well. Um, Actor Simon Fisher Becker died this week at the age of 63. He was in Les Mis. He was in Harry Potter, but for me, he was most notably, I think, a dude named Dorian in Doctor Who. He was the blue dude who dealt with Matt Smith, and eventually became a talking head in a box via Matt Smith. But he was integral in the like lead up to changing from Matt Smith to Peter Capaldi, and he was in one of my favorite episodes of all time, the Good Man Goes to War or Demon's Run, for those of you who don't actually learn episodes names, and he passed away this week. Um, Skyrim, the game that keeps on giving, is going to be getting a 60-hour expansion that you can download this September. Um, Much like how Destiny has not added a game past two yet, because they keep adding full storylines and gameplay and stuff each year, each quarter. They're about to drop a whole new Skyrim on top of Skyrim and just let it keep being called Skyrim so that they don't have to do a two. Um, or if they do a two, it'll be something later. But if you like the world of Skyrim, you need to prepare your barbaric yelps to start yelling at stuff again because you're gonna have stuff to do. Um, yeah. Uh, this is okay. Tristan, you're the only person that like I'd be moderately concerned about this. Have you seen any of Daredevil yet? Before I say anything else, I'll give you a second to respond to that one. Um, because there's a really neat thing that I wanted to address. Uh, Beyond that note, the show You about the serial killer Joe Goldberg officially comes back for its final season on April 24th. Never seen it, don't need it. Like nothing against it, just not my jam. Other than it facts, okay. Um, because I love you, I'm gonna leave this news bit of news out. Um, there's a neat thing with Daredevil. We'll cross that bridge later. Um, Jordan, I'll inbox you. I would expect you to be caught up in Daredevil too. Um, but considering you actually had a run in with uh Charlie Cox in the not Charlie, is it Charlie? Yes, Charlie Cox in the park. Um, but yeah, there was a cool bit of Daredevil information that I saw broken down by some comic book nerds this week that I thought was really neat. And I honestly believe 100% wholeheartedly. All right. This past week, or so, One Piece teamed up with the LA Lakers, did some animated shorts, did some merch, and did some stuff like that. Now, the MLB as a whole is producing a short film that teams uh, film and merchandise with Demon Slayer. Um, uh, well, I think there's only three episodes out so far, Tristan, and I heard the first two were great. The third kind of stalled a little bit by some people's opinions, but I'm just, I'm I appreciate good storytelling. Is all I'm saying. Um, but Demon Slayer is officially partnering with the Major League Baseball Association, and there will be merch, anime, and stuff like that coming to partner with that because I don't know, that could be fun. One Piece will officially be kicking back up uh, for new episodes for people that are watching. Season 15, Voyage 3, which is episodes 1009 through 122, and specials 14 through 16 will arrive on March 18th on Crunchyroll. So there'll be more added um, on Crunchyroll as well as in English. But beginning on April 6th, One Piece will start to simulcast, um, meaning that it will premiere on Crunchyroll worldwide as it appears in Japan. So you'll actually be able to watch One Piece week to week. For me, this will be the first time because I just caught up like this past week with the rest of the show. So that's something that will be available if you are in that world. Uh, the actress Nicole Ari Parker has landed the role of Jon Stewart's mother, Bernadette, in the upcoming Lantern series. Um, that's one of the things. Uh, yeah, I just couldn't remember. Like, Jordan, I knew that you had met Daredevil, but in my brain, I always stutter on Charlie Cox and Charlie Day, the dude from It's Always Sunny, and I always mix up which one's which. Um, and Derek, Derek, you're gonna wait for the live action of One Piece. I think I'm looking forward to season two, but there's no way possible that they're ever going to make it this far in the anime. But who knows, man? Who knows? Whenever I think of lanterns and Green Lanterns, I don't think of their moms, and you know, I don't as part of the story. I don't think that I've, I don't think we've really even interacted with Green Lantern parents for the most part. But it's an interesting route. Um, and yeah, I look forward to seeing tomorrow, dude. Um, this past week. marked 30 years of Chrono Trigger, what many consider to be one of the best RPGs, if not best games of all time. Um, and I, even as a kid, I knew that I loved it for a million reasons, but I didn't realize that it was also part of Akira Toriyama, the guy who made Dragon Ball Z, um, and part of his world too. So it makes so much sense looking back at the posters and stuff. And I absolutely want to go back and play the game now again. So I might download that on my Switch if it's available. Nintendo or Niantic has officially sold Pokemon Go to Scopely, which is a Saudi game developing company. They're the people that are responsible for Monopoly Go and a few other games. But Pokemon Go has been sold. It's still, owned by Pokemon in the sense, but instead of Niantic holding it, this company sold it. But they didn't just buy Pokemon Go, they bought a whole development studio and they bought it for $3.5 billion dollars. So, yeah, still less than Candy Crush, which sold for 8 billion. But uh, I I've been playing Pokemon Go consistently for 9 years now, almost coming up in July, and I really enjoy it being part of my life. So I'd rather it not go away or get terrible. Sadie Sink, the actress who plays Max on Stranger Things, has officially been cast in Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland, with many people thinking she's being cast as uh, Black Cat or as a MCU proper Mary Jane Watson. Um, yeah, because one of the reasons they had the freedom to do what they wanted to with Zendaya's character is because she is MJ, not Mary Jane. Because Mary Jane um, is owned by Sony, and Marvel had more freedom to have an MJ that wasn't Mary Jane Watson. So that's the thing. Eminem is currently in a bid to join ownership for a WNBA expansion team. Because if of all the things you expected Eminem to do with his semi golden years of 50s and such, owning a WNBA team was not one of the things I projected. But as someone who raised a handful of daughters, it doesn't surprise me either. Uh, North Carolina is introducing a bill that would ban minors from social media. And this goes beyond age verifications. It like will have like parental consent things and such with it. But it's just a bill. It's not law yet. But it would ban youth under a certain age from any form of social media. And I I don't know that I hate it. I know that there's a lot of creative ways to express with that, and I know that it's not that kids can handle some things responsibility, but not everybody can. Just saying. I'm not away for taking from freedoms, but I do think parents need some help sometimes. That's I don't know. I haven't put enough weight into that thought. The Spinal Tap sequel. If you are familiar with rock, comedy, or both, there was a movie called Spinal Tap lifetimes ago. That was a satire movie about a rock band, and it was kind of comedic gold. It was like the rock version of What We Do in the Shadows. The sequel is being filmed now, all these years later, and it's looking like it's going to be fun. Uh, Also, in things that I guess have taken a long time, the dudes from Psych are getting Funko Pops. Um, so if you needed some Psych Funko Pops, they're happening. But the Spinal Tap sequel will release in September, so that will be coming out in Spinal Tap or in September. Um, while not 1,000% confirmed, it is from a reliable news source that Daniel Craig is in talks to join the cast of one of the upcoming Narnia movies. Um, not doesn't say which one, uh, or even what chunk they're doing. But if the report is to be believed from IMAX and AMC, that they are making 8 Narnia films, there's a lot of ground to cover. But considering he's one of the first castings we are seeing mentioned, the possibility of him being Aslan could be a high chance, but that will all be determined in the near future. There was a Western West Virginia University had a big literal come to Jesus meeting this past week, where over 5,000 students um, went to a outreach youth rally, or not youth rally, but an outreach ministry evangelistic situation in Morgantown. Um, and it said over 1,000 students proclaimed Jesus as their savior at the end of the event, flooding the altar and um, making the statement they wanted something the world more than the world had to offer, as parroting Switchfoot. But yes, 1,000 students responded to an altar call. Um, like literally, so out of 5,000 students, 1,000 of them like responded to an altar call, which is pretty girthy, honestly. Um, yeah, it's great to hear. Um, Netflix is officially producing a new film version of Stephen King's Cujo. So the horror film about the very unfriendly dog will be getting a reboot real soon. If you haven't seen it yet, State Farm produced a Super Bowl level um, commercial for Batman. Um, like literally, this was like literally something I would have expected to see in the Super Bowl, but it's a Batman commercial featuring Jason Bateman, Caesar, like Two-Face, Joker, Kai Cent, just a lot of fun stuff. Jordan the Stallion plays Commissioner Gordon. So yeah, if you're a fan of Batman and celebrity internet culture at all, you might want to find this Allstate commercial on Facebook or YouTube or TikTok or anything like that. Also, on the note of Batman, we're going to get more Kevin Conroy. Um, just when I thought that, the late voice actor had given all of his contributions, we're wrong. Kevin Conroy plays plays the character VP Baines in the upcoming Netflix Devil May Cry series. So he had already voiced his role for that before he passed. So now, not only do you get to hear Kevin Conroy's voice again, you get to hear Kevin Conroy's voice in a show where Limp Bizkit's Rolling is the theme song. So enjoy the gift of Kevin Conroy and Lincoln and Limp Bizkit. Um, Lavender Brown from Harry Potter, the actress who played Lavender, is under fire slash criticism um, for pursuing, because I know young viewers watch this, um, pursuing financial independence and freedom from debt um, through adult publications of the type that only fans would want to watch. Yeah. So there's a lot of criticism being thrown her way in that capacity. But yeah, that's a thing. Uh, on a college campus in Texas, in Lubbock, Texas, it's Texas Tech University. A explosion happened uh, in the middle of campus that caused fires and power outages. Um, but the flames that were coming out of the sewers, yes, the explosion happened underground. The manholes were popping off around campus, and the flames that were coming out of the manholes were neon green. And so campus was shut down. We have no word yet if turtles were harmed. Um, yeah, the new series of Black Mirror, the dark, retrospective, inflective, highly star-studded cast of Black Mirror, the sci-fi series, will drop on April 10th. So if you um, are a fan of Black Mirror, then you are going to have a blast because this cast is star-studded. I'm talking Peter Capaldi. I'm talking Christine Milioti, who just won all the awards for playing Sophia Falcone on Daredevil. Not Daredevil, sorry. Gosh, I'm still got Daredevil on the brain on Penguin. Yeah. In a recent interview this week, Anthony Mackie stated that during the iconic rap battle in 8 Mile, which if you've forgotten, that Anthony Mackie was the person that Eminem destroyed in the 8 Mile movie, which I've never seen, which is so surprising. Um, Jordan says the trailer looks so good for Black Mirror. It really does, dude. Um, Black Mirror can be so offbeat sometimes, but this one looks pretty baller. I've loved 40, no, hold on. I have loved like 89% of Black Mirror, but this looks really well done. Um, but Anthony Mackie stated in an interview this week that Eminem used real disses to Anthony Mackie from Anthony Mackie's own life when they were shooting the final scene of the final battle in 8 Mile. So while they were filming, some of the reactions that you see are genuine because Eminem was actually dissing Anthony Mackie, even if it wasn't in the cuts that made the film. Eminem was digging into him. And news that I don't love. Microsoft is uh, launching a thing called Copilot for Gaming, and it is an AI interface that will be loaded into the Xbox app and then eventually become part of your Xbox experience. Um, like giving you game advice, helping you remember where you left things, or stuff that if you're struggling, the AI is going to start being your player too. I don't love it. I don't love it at all. I think it's a bad life choice. I don't want it. Um, yeah, just no, not a fan. Um, if you're aware, there was a blood moon and a lunar eclipse last night. In honor of this and leading up to it and celebrating it afterwards, Capri Sun released a new glow-in-the-dark pouch that had a moon that the different pouches in the box glow at different phases of the moon in the dark. That's a lot of extravagant work for a Capri Sun pouch, but I applaud their effort. Um, Blake Lively has won a confidentiality order in the Justin Baldoni case that will force him to limit the sensitive information that goes public because it can further affect the court case. The Chinese animated movie Ne Zha 2, um, which has been blowing up the world everywhere except for America. Um, this movie has been overtaking box office records. And it just this week surpassed The Force Awakens um, to become one of the top five grossing films of all time. Um, The Force Awakens has been in the top five highest grossing films of all time for the last decade, and now it has been knocked down a peg out of the top five by Neza 2. And literally, a good chunk of America's never seen it, or even knows it exists, or didn't know Neza 1 existed. So it's going to be something that I think we're eventually going to be landing on, but they managed to take top five highest grossing film of all time without the United States watching it. So that's a thing. Uh, Aldous Hodge, who played Hawkman in the Black Adam film and recently played the detective hero Alex Cross in the series Cross on Amazon Prime, is discussing season two, and that it will while the season one was an original story, season two moving forward will have more direct connections to the books. Um, and ties to it as well because I think they did season one to stand on its own 2 feet, just so that the book readers wouldn't say, "Oh, they're just adapting this story." Now they'll start adapting stories. There is desire for Quiet Place to finish it as a trilogy, but they are waiting on John Krasinski's schedule to be able to do it. The producer of Quiet Place, Brad Fuller, says that a third film is planned, but they have to wait on Krasinski to finish other commitments first, like the fact he's making a Jack Ryan movie and some other things in that capacity. The House of David series on Amazon, which focuses on David and his storyline, is looking like it may dethrone Reacher in Amazon Prime's top 10. Uh, Good. I mean, I love Reacher. I love Alan Richardson, but if that many people are watching a biblical story, great. I haven't actually seen The House of David yet. I do plan to check it out. I've heard good things, but yeah, it's being well reviewed apparently. Uh, Detroit Pistons star just Jaden Ivey used his platform this week to do a gospel focus. When asked, he says, "When you have a peace that never leaves you, when you rest in God's grace and you understand what He did for you, it's a peace that surpasses all understanding, as it says in the Bible." Um, And so when given time with the platform, he shared, that. I think that's great. If you grew up in the moderate time frame of my life, you remember Matt Pinfield as a host from MTV. He's been a radio host for the last hot minute of life. And he just awoke from a 2 month coma after suffering a stroke. Uh, and he just shared an update from his socials and everything after popping out of a coma to say, "Hey guys, I'm alive," and that's great. Um, I can't imagine waking up out of a coma at this stage of life right now with everything that's going on and just being like, "Yikes!" Um, if you've listened to me or any other news, you've known that there's been a lawsuit filed against Moana, um, by someone who claims that Disney stole his story. Um, and a federal judge ruled this week that Disney was in no wrong, that the story was a broad enough cultural story, that it shared almost like fairy tale tendencies with other stories and could not be specifically tied and pinpointed to Moana. A Australian man survived 105 days with an artificial titanium heart while waiting for a donor. And if you see this titanium heart, it literally looks like what I would guess a catalytic converter looks like. Because I know catalytic converters exist. I can't tell you what one looks like. But looking at this titanium heart, I would totally identify that as a catalytic converter in my head. Um, that's amazing that we're able to be at that place to literally give somebody a titanium heart. to be a placeholder. Um, if it was on fire, it would look like Karlach's heart from Baldur's Gate. Um, you just watched Moana 2 before it went live? Yeah. And the thing with the lawsuit too, Tristan, is that the dude wanted to, he tried to sue for Moana 1, but didn't get the paperwork done in time. Uh, they said it had been out too long to prove it. And so his lawsuit was originally for Moana 1. They just adapted it to be for Moana 2. Either way, he still lost. Um, so yeah, that totally happened. Let's see. What's my notes? Um, it's reported this week that Elon Musk lost over $100 billion amid the Tesla stock market issues this week. Um, that's a lot of money to lose. Just saying. Um, a mom in Indiana was in a car crash and she was trapped in the crashed car for 6 days. For 6 whole days, she was trapped in the crashed car and she survived by the fact that she was able to dunk some of her hoodie in water and then suck the water out of her hoodie. That's some determination to live. I was like, you know, how'd you survive this catastrophic situation? By my hoodie water. Lady, I am proud of you. God bless you. And I hope that you get a hoodie sponsorship. I hope that you get a water sponsorship. I hope you get all the endorsements. And I'm glad you're alive. Um, a lawsuit has been filed against Girl Scouts of the USA, claiming that they are selling cookies contaminated with heavy metals. Um, and that some of the samples that were put out for Girl Scout cookies, um, and 100% of the samples were found heavy metals and pesticides. Now, that could be a local branch, that could be something. I don't know all the details. The lawsuit is filed, it is not won. So that's just getting started. So, and I'm not telling you not to buy cookies because I know people be eating, but um, just be aware that's an existing conversation. There's also a major X slash Twitter uh, downing this week as the social media apparatus went down. Big outage there. This next story is slightly disturbing. Well, not just slightly, it's very disturbing. I'm going to try and be as delicately delivering it possible, but just to let you know, people are evil. Um, a missing Florida teenager um, was found, and she's alive. Uh, yeah, she a 16-year-old girl in Florida. Um, Miranda Corset uh, met up with a 35-year-old man named Stephen Gress on a dating app. And they went out on for Valentine's Day. She was tortured and dismembered. I believe she lost an arm in the process. Um, yeah, y'all be careful with your teenagers. Be careful with the internet. Be careful with people. We just be evil. Um, we're just evil people. Sometimes I was at a event DJing for another organization's youth event. I had nothing to do with putting the event on, but I was the DJ because DJs be DJing. And while I was DJing at the event, a young lady told the event organizer that her uncle was coming to pick her up. Now, the security and the administrators of that event had enough wherewithal to check IDs and phone numbers and permission slips like that because the uncle that was picking her up was a 40 something year old man who was there to run away with this 14-year-old girl. And I'm DJing, playing 80s bops and stuff, like smiling at the back. And all of a sudden, cops are like outside and people are getting arrested. And I'm like, what's happening? And literally, that people are scary. We're dark in here. Be cautious, man. Be cautious. Be wary. And whew, it hurts my heart. Um, geez, it hurts my heart. Um, in other crappy news, that has less life impact. Boeing 77 was forced to make an emergency landing due to the fact that Tristan says discernment at its best. Yeah. Boeing 777 was forced to make an emergency landing due to clogged toilets. There we go. Let's get back to poop jokes in the news. Um, was forced to make a emergency landing due to clogged toilets. They had to turn around and go back 5 hours to where it took off because nine out of the 10 bathrooms were clogged, um, and only one of them still worked in business class. The flight was to uh, Delhi, and it returned to Chicago O'Hare International Airport. It spent a total of 10 hours in the air with no functioning bathrooms. There was a uh, hostage and terrorist situation that took place this week that I don't know has gotten a lot of press. But uh, in Pakistan, militants uh, boarded a train that had 400 passengers, and took the train hostage and threatened to kill all the hostages and um, incite terror if their demands weren't met. Um, there were lives that were lost in the process because this went on for a long while, and eventually, a strike force landed on the train and it went bad. But it was the Balochistan Liberation Army that took the train hostage. Um, yeah, it seems like a lot less fun than the Firefly train job. Um, it's just bad. Ukraine agreed to a 30-day ceasefire with Russia, um, prompted by the U.S. if Trump would reinstate military aid, but Russia denied that, even though Ukraine agreed to it. And then Russia then went on to attack one of its largest drone situations. Um, really neat science, but also really creepy Black Mirror vibes. Um, Scientists have created a super skin that self heals 90% of cuts in 4 hours and fully repairs in 24 hours. Scientists from the Aalto University and the University of Beirut have now crossed these boundaries. Um, it's a major milestone in scientific materials. Um, it's self-healing, flexible, and strong hydrogel. Um, this could open a lot of possibilities in terms of wound healing, soft robotics, artificial skin, and more. We are literally in an episode of Black Mirror, y'all. This is self-healing sci-fi skin. We can't even go without getting sunburns. What are we going to do with self-healing sci-fi skin? Nothing good. Nothing good at all. Um, a track star was charged with assault and battery with because she hit the another track competitor in the head with her metal baton. The video looks very clear that it was an intentional thing from a perspective. Um, Jordan Simpson says just because we can make it doesn't mean we have to. Literally, Jurassic Park, Terminator. We have reasons why this should not be a thing, guys. Um, but the track star, in being interviewed afterwards, said that it was not voluntary, that she had a cramp, that she would never intentionally try and hit someone like that. But the video doesn't necessarily exonerate her, and she was officially charged with battery. Uh, the U.S. stock market, it appears that it's lost $4 trillion in value in the last 30 days. Um, that's a number higher than we can ever count as individuals, but it breaks down to $4,637 per second in value lost. This goes on with the tariffs and the trade values and investors and things of that nature. This year, in 2024, Spotify paid out $10 billion in royalties to the music industry. Um, I was at a Ren Collective concert last week, and they said that it takes 30,000 streams for an artist to get the cost of a t-shirt. Um, so imagine how many streams are all involved in that for them to pay out $10 billion. dollars. Um, an 8 mile protected, an 8 mile stretch of protected Amazon rainforest has been cut down to make space for a 4-lane highway. Okay. An 8 mile stretch of the Amazon rainforest that's protected was cut down to make space for a 4-lane highway. But guess why? Here's why. And this is what this proves to me that we are so brilliant sometimes. The 4-lane highway is being built specifically for the climate summit, which is going to be held um, in the city of Balaam. They're hosting a climate summit, a summit for the climate, and they unalived 8 miles of protected rainforest to make a road to the summit. Hey, let's have a conversation about how to save the planet. But first, let's cut down 8 miles of rainforest so that people have easy access. 50,000 people are going to be gathering for this summit in Balaam in November. And the best option they could come up with is to pave over, cut down 8 miles of protected rainforest for people to be able to have a conversation. Y'all, we got Zoom. We got options. I don't think cutting down 8 miles of rainforest was the best way to say, hey, yo, I'm conscientious about this planet. But whatever. Oh, it's bonkers. Um, all right, so I'm not gonna do the roll for initiative reading this morning, the dice and everything, just because of time's sake. But we're still gonna do a quick reading. Before I do, I want to make a couple newsy statements. Put out new stickers last week. Had Wilkes Comic Con last week. It was good. Tomorrow, which is Saturday the 15th, I will be setting up at Power Comic Con in Florence, South Carolina. So if you are in the Florence region, you want to come check us out, I'll be there with new stickers and new sketches, um, poetry book, which is out, and those things. Also, uh, depending on my work day today, I'll be publishing a Goofy movie devotional. It's written, the first draft is written. I just need to go through a second read through and then potentially also record the audio for it. I have a very busy day. I've got to work at my muggle job, and then my daughter is in a play tonight, and I've got to drive up to Durham to see that play, and then leave at 6 in the morning tomorrow to go set up at this show. So we'll see if I can get it done today. If not, tomorrow, Saturday night, possibly. But there's a Goofy movie devotional. It is written. I'm excited for it. And also want to thank our Patreon supporters. Let me pop over there. Want to thank our Patreon supporters for your generosity and your just grace with that. Rivka and Tristan Birch, Dorothy Martin, Michelle Stewart, Lynn Turner, David Brooks, Jeff Weimer, Colin Sproles, Jamie Montgomery, who I also think I'm going to see at Florence. Jamie, if you're there, holler, say hi. The Coleman family, Jonathan Herman, Ron Petit, Gear Saber Cosplay, um, Scott Ward, Alicia Glenn, Jay Shee, Jason Crutchfield, Mike Perner, Todd Turner, Jonathan Jacobs, Zach Harris, Caleb Grimm, Jeanette Skaggs, Jason Bullock, Christina Ray, Sarah Lewis, Patrick Gale, Rebecca Godlove, and Adam Davis. There's enough Patreon supporters now that I could do one a month or one a day for the month of February. That's pretty cool. Um, and I y'all just want y'all to understand y'all really help make everything possible in this capacity. And I'm so grateful for the fact y'all contribute. And some contributions are $1, and I'm here for that. Y'all, it makes it literally makes all the difference. I am doing better with seeing what I'm actually spending on Faith and Fandom versus what I'm actually being an adult with my finances now a little bit more. I'm like, oh, this is not a great business, but I never thought it was, and I'm not worried about that. And God's provided in ways that just make me giggle. Um, uh, yeah. So I'm not doing the whole dice thing because I do got to go to work, and I also left my Bible at church yesterday, and I don't want to read a whole chapter and not be able to highlight it. I know that's so silly, but rock with me. So I'm gonna read one quick passage out of scripture out of this uh you can come on through. You're fine. I know you got to adult and wake up. This is a book, Catching Whimsy by Bob Goff. It's a 365 daily devotional. And so when I don't have something that I'm already reading, this is my go-to for just catching up. It's a newer one. So March 14th, uh, the verse for the day is 2 Timothy 2, verse 3, or 2 Timothy 2:23. It says, "Don't have anything to do with foolish and stupid arguments because you know they produce quarrels." And I use this verse a lot for my own sake when it comes to um, what conversations I'm going to get into on the internet or in life in general. And I really firmly believe the policy that if the people in the argument aren't actually open to listening, then there's no point in having it. And just because I see somebody that says something wrong doesn't mean I have to be the one to fight that fight with them. Um, if I'm asked, or if I know that there's somebody that's genuinely trying to listen and understand, I'm more prone to be in a discussion, but not just because it's a battle to fight. Um, and I'm not going to read the whole uh, devotional, but there's this one last passage I thought was really solid. Um, Arguments can be hard to avoid, though, especially these days. I don't know if there has been another time in history where there have been so many people with so many scary videos and inflammatory opinions to share. For many of us, it is a parade of the horribles on loop every week. And being surrounded by these things can feel like watching scary movies. It puts us on edge and can be a huge distraction. I applaud people's zeal even when it's misplaced, but I just know getting caught up in arguments will distract me from the things that matter more, like hope, joy, love, and anticipation. I don't listen to the loudest voices anymore. I listen to the truest ones. And that's a sentiment that Bob Goff has shared many times throughout his stuff is don't just listen to the loudest voices, listen to the truest ones. Um, And because I know there's a lot of loud voices out there with a lot of negative. So don't put yourself in arguments you don't need to be in. You don't have to fight every battle. Um, and make sure you're actually looking out for the things that are going to be encouraging to you. Um, yeah, so I'm hoping to drop the Goofy Movie devotional as soon as I can. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and peace off out of here and go do my muggle job. And again, if you're in Florence, I hope to see you there. And in 2 weeks, I will be at GalaxyCon Richmond. Um, yeah. And also this week, I just booked Greenville Comic Con for Greenville, North Carolina, which will be on August 9th. August 9th. Yeah. All right. I appreciate y'all. I hope your week is filled with good news and the good news. And I hope y'all have a great week.